Let's turn our attention now to some of the top stories we tracked in the courts last week.
We begin with last week Friday's judgment from the Supreme Court. The Apex Court set aside the decision of the Court of Appeal, which allowed the sacked governor of Rivers State, Mr. Celestine Umehea, to join a suit challenging the tenure of the incumbent governor, Chibuike Amechi. In the judgment, which lasted for about 45 minutes, the Supreme Court agreed with the submission of Governor Amechi that the Court of Appeal was in error to have joined Mr. Umehea as a party at the appellate court when he never sought to be joined in the matter at the Federal High Court. In the unanimous judgment, which was written by Justice Mohammed Muntaka Kumasi, the Supreme Court held that Mr. Umehea failed to show to the court the special interest he had in the case for seeking to be joined as a party in the matter. Mr. Umehea had claimed that he was an interested party in the suit because, according to him, the issue of Amechi's tenure arose from a judgment of the Supreme Court which concerned him. In another suit heard last week Thursday, Governor Chibuike Amechi and 4 other governors who defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress rejected the service of some court processes. The suit, which was filed against them by the PDP last December, seeks to sack the 5 governors who defected to the opposition party. The governors are Alhaji Murtala Nyako of Adamawa, Rotimi Amechi of Rivers, Aliyu Wamako of Sokoto, Rabiu Kwankwaso of Kano, and Abdul Fattah Ahmed of Kwara State. The judge hearing the suit has directed that the hearing notice should be pasted at the National Secretariat of the APC as a means of substituted service on the 5 governors, in addition to its advertisement in 2 national dailies. Further hearing in the matter was then fixed for February the 24th. Staying at the Federal High Court in Abuja last week Monday, Justice Gabriel Kolawole dismissed a motion in which the All Progressive Congress sought the investigation and prosecution of Anambra State Governor-elect Willie Obiano for alleged multiple registration. APC had in the ex parte motion asked the court to compel the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and the Inspector General of Police Muhammad Abubakar to prosecute Mr. Obiano in accordance with Section 12, Subsection 2 of the Electoral Act 2010 and Section 4 and 23 of the Police Act. But Justice Kolawole held that it would be unfair to grant the motion without notifying the governor-elect, who will be affected by the decision of the court, especially as there was no criminal charge against him in respect to the alleged multiple registration. We move on to the Ogun State High Court sitting in Abeokuta, which has fixed the 3rd and 4th for the continuation of the trial of a former governor of the state, Chief Benga Daniel. The former governor is being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on a 38-count charge bordering on fraudulent conversion of land and diversion of public funds. The court fixed the date for trial after the ruling of the appeal court, which dismissed the former governor's plea to quash some of the charges against him. And we round off in Lagos, where the Federal High Court fixed March the 27th to deliver judgment in a suit filed against the state government over collection of toll on Lekki-Ikoyi Bridge. The plaintiff, Mr. Ebunolu Adegborua, is seeking an injunction restraining the Lagos state government from collecting toll from motorists on the bridge. Amongst other things, he submits that once the National Assembly has made an act in respect of any subject, such as the Lekki Lagoon on which the bridge is erected, a State House of Assembly is incompetent to make contrary laws on it. The Lagos State Attorney General, however, argued that there was a concession from the federal government for the construction of the bridge. He also submitted that there were laws in the state, such as the Public Partnership Law, which authorizes the collection of tolls on roads, and it therefore urged the court to dismiss the suit.
You're still watching Law Weekly on Channels Television, and I am Shola Shieli. The issue of an unremitted $20 billion by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) to the federal government was also one of the major issues in the news last week. At his appearance before the Senate Committee on Finance, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Lamido Sanusi Lamido, last week Tuesday said the NNPC was yet to remit to the Federation account some monies it realized from crude oil sale on behalf of the federal government.
Let us first of all make it clear that out of $67 billion NNPC shipped, $47 billion has been repatriated to the central bank. Now, what we're talking about is the balance of the 20 billion and what explanations have been given. NNPC has said some of it does not belong to the Federation. So $6 billion MPDC. We have held the position that some of the crude shipped by MPDC is shipped from oil wells that belong to the Federation. JVs that Shell went out of, which NNPC took over and handed over to MPDC, which then handed over to two Nigerian companies, Atlantic Energy and Seven Energy, and transferred revenue that should come to the Federation to private hands. And I have given 3 legal opinions to this committee on the unconstitutionality and illegality of that transaction.
Legal opinions on constitutionality and illegality are just 3 of the key words that featured in Mr. Sanusi's submissions before that committee. Now on Law Weekly, we got our legal experts to give their opinions on this issue. But before then, here's what the NNPC said in its defense.
There isn't any single account of the NNPC that the Central Bank of Nigeria is not aware of. Okay? And they have access to all these accounts. The Central Bank is in a position to demand to know about the operations, not just of NNPC, but even individual accounts. Okay? So there is nothing secret about what we do in terms of our accounts.
My little worry in this whole saga is that we keep hearing different numbers being thrown. It was 49.8 billion. No, it's not 49, it's 10.8. No, it's 12. It's now 20. Now, I am not saying there isn't something wrong, don't get me wrong. But my worry is that on such weighty issues, it's so important for all the facts to be in, because nobody can wish away the loss of $10.8 billion or whatever amount of money. Sooner or later, it will come to light. But we must handle it with care. We cannot have a situation in which very senior people in government are facing themselves, people who should ordinarily have been talking amongst themselves behind closed doors to make sure they reconcile these differences, out there doing, as it were, floor show for the whole populace, and we're coming back with, oh, you are right, you are wrong, oh, okay, I didn't know it was it, but it was this. It's not, it's untidy. That's the way I look at it. But having said that, every one of us has been hoping that the PIB should be passed, so that the powers of the minister or indeed the president to do a number of things can be curtailed. Because for as long as oil continues to be the mainstay of this economy, its management must be far more transparent than it is. And I think this is where the crux of the matter is.
And finally on the show tonight, we round off with the retirement of the former Chief Judge of Plateau State, Justice Lazarus Dakian.
After serving as the Chief Judge of Plateau State for 10 years, the second indigenous Chief Judge of the state, Justice Lazarus Dakian, was treated to a befitting valedictory ceremony at the premises of the Plateau State High Court in Jos, north-central Nigeria. In attendance were serving judicial officers, members of the bar and bench, politicians, as well as family members of the retiring judge. The Nigeria Police added glamour to the occasion with a guard of honor, inspected by the retiring judge as he bid farewell to the judiciary he had served for several years. The judge used the occasion to solicit for proper funding and repositioning of the judiciary in order to have a fair judicial system for the people.
The welfare of judges and judicial staff should be improved upon. This is needed for motivation to expand to enhance effective performance.
The governor of the state, Jonah Jang, urged members of the National Assembly to suspend further efforts at amending the Constitution and wait for the outcome of the national dialogue in order to have a people-oriented constitution.
Indeed, I call on the National Assembly to sustain further efforts of amending the Constitution and await the outcome of the national dialogue.
Meanwhile, another judge of the Plateau State High Court, Justice Pius Damulak, has been sworn in as the acting chief judge of the state by Governor Jonah Jang, pending the approval of the Judicial Service Commission and the ratification of his appointment as the substantive chief judge of the state.
And it's on that note we round off this edition of the program. You can watch this program and past episodes of the program by logging onto our YouTube page. Also feel free to interact with me via email, Facebook or Twitter. Please use the hashtag LawWeekly. I'm Shola Shieli. Thank you for watching.